Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. So after the immense success of my first two videos, we got a staggering, absolute earth-shattering 13 views. Yes, 13 on that first one. Hit a bit of a sophomore slump with video number 2, admittedly, as to be expected with any great artist. You know, you hit a little bit of a slump and now it's time for the comeback. So today, we're going to talk about something that personally is very near and dear to me, probably near and dear to many of you who grew up playing video games in any capacity as a child. Of course, you know what time it is, you already read the title of the video, we're talking Mario. Today, since I've decided that I'm going to be talking about Mario Bros games, I've invited my bro to be here with me, Josh. Josh, thank you so much for being on today.
No problem.
So what I really wanted to do in this video is I really wanted to talk about my favorite, my top 3 Mario Brothers games of all time, excluding things like the Mario Sports, Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, anything like that, where it's people from multiple universes just kind of playing a game anybody could play. We're talking about mainline Mario platforming games. So that's the topic today, and I figure what we would do first is, why don't you give us a little bit of background and I'll do the same. That way we can sort of explore what different Nintendo products we grew up playing, because I feel like we grew up playing different Nintendo systems, and I'm interested to see how that's going to play into which games that we like.
Yeah, so my Nintendo background's pretty deep. I've been playing since the NES, original Nintendo system, and I've had every system from that on, except for maybe a few Game Boys in between, but I've had all the major systems: Wii, Switch, Wii U, 64.
You had a Wii U?
Yes.
Wow, I've never met anybody with a Wii U.
Yes, I had a Wii U.
Okay.
And I recently switched over to PlayStation, but Nintendo's still always going to be probably my top favorite, just for nostalgia purposes.
All right. Well, at least now I can rest comfortably knowing that this video is going to have some diversity, because I grew up kind of the exact opposite. We didn't have any like brand loyalty against Nintendo growing up, but buying me video game consoles, my parents typically stuck with what they knew, which was PlayStation. They knew that we liked the games on the PlayStation 2, so that was always a safe bet. So really, only ever had the Game Boy Advance and the Wii growing up as far as Nintendo systems go.
PlayStation was too violent in my household.
Yeah, we were a PlayStation family. And to be honest, we only had the Wii because it was an impulse buy from my mother after we had so much fun playing it at my cousin's house one time. We never touched it again. We only owned Wii Sports and this weird game called Chicken Shoot.
Let's be serious. Everybody got a Wii.
Everybody had a Wii, to varying degrees of playing. Yeah. So, 2 completely different Nintendo backgrounds. I think that's going to be interesting to compare where we fall. So why don't we go ahead and kick it off. Number 3.
All right. Number 3, I'm going to say, is GameCube Super Mario Sunshine. This game is just one of those challenging, fun Mario experiences. GameCube is one of my favorite systems of all time, so therefore it's one of the first games I bought on the system, and one of the first games I beat on the system, and it was very challenging. I very much remember it, and this is why I bought the Switch version, because I just missed it so much I wanted to play it again. I'm going to say, shining into everybody's heart, Super Mario Sunshine.
All right. A top tier start to the list right there. My number 3 is going to definitely be Super Mario Bros. 3, the original. That is the first Mario game I remember. You can see the world progress in the hub area, which I always thought was cool. Of course, as on literally the cover, you have the little raccoon flying mechanic, which I thought was just absolutely super cool. And all the worlds looked really different. It was like they took everything that you really liked about Mario 1 and Mario 2, and they just continued throwing cool stuff in to, I don't know, it was just really great. I think the water levels were even better than the original. Everything that you could have played in the first one, you got to play plus more, plus improvements. It was really great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That would definitely have been on my list, but sadly it is not.
Well, it's on mine.
But it is definitely an honorable mention. I will not lie about that. It's an honorable mention because of all the things you said. It's just one of those classic, memorable games. I like the little mini games that they had that went along with it. You get to hit the blocks. That was a classic.
That was a
Can't
classic.
even lie.
All right. Strong number three. Strong number threes. Now, bring us home with number 2.
All right, number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Mario World. It is a classic. Yoshi's introduction, which just off the bat makes it amazing. You get to play with both Mario and Luigi. And I love Luigi. He's my favorite, but since we're talking about Mario, I'll stick to that. I just like the way this game just flows. I just think it's one of the best ones in the series. I can always go back to it, even though the Super Nintendo Entertainment System is very old. I still feel like it's one of those just classics that just doesn't ever get old, honestly.
All right. All right. So, I've already explained my weird relationship with the Wii growing up. I was one of those kids who had one and then never played it. That being said, my number 2 pick snuck its way in, and it was in fact a Wii console system game, and that is Super Mario Galaxy.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
My friend Brandon growing up, he had a Wii, and we would go over there, and of course, as young lads do, we would play the video games, and man, that was the first Mario game I ever remember being that good. Just, looking, really. You can run around the entire planet without being sort of restricted by any of the game physics.
It was wild.
It was wild. And everything just looked better. There's this standard thing that you do in a lot of Mario games where it's kind of like the ascending mushroom jump. You're just bouncing on mushrooms to get to higher platforms.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that in this game. I don't remember what level it was, but I remember bouncing on the mushrooms for the first time and it being familiar because it's a Mario game, but at the same time, the bounce mechanics just look so good. The game looks so good. It's not 2021 levels where you're zooming in on Luigi's crotch to see all the cross stitchings on the cover of fucking Mario Tennis. But it was amazing though, just for its time. Even today, I think it was a really great looking, really fun game. Everything about it just looked and played fantastically. So Mario Galaxy, number 2.
Definitely still holds up. I'd have to agree with you on that.
All right. Now, before we get to our number 1s, I figured we'd each do a quick honorable mention. So for my honorable mention, I would like to throw in there the original, not the original Super Mario game. Well, I guess it might have been called Pipe Man or something, where the turtles come on all the different levels and you have the smash button and you're just trying to get to the top and smash as many things as possible.
Yes.
Even though that was the most simplistic one, I entertained myself for hours doing that as a child. It almost never got old. So my honorable mention was the very first Jumpman game. Jumpman. There we go.
All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and say Luigi's Mansion.
Ooh.
My boy got his debut, got his game. Obviously, I told you about my history with the GameCube being one of my favorite systems of all time, so of course that was a must-buy. As soon as I saw Luigi had his own game,
Not to mention Luigi being your favorite character.
not to mention Luigi being my favorite character in every Mario game, I had to go ahead and scoop that up. That's one of the funnest games ever. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard not to put it in my top, but you'll see after you see number 1. It was obvious I couldn't put it in there.
All right. Speaking of number 1, the time has come. We're not going to waste any more time. Josh, your number 1 Mario game, please.
Number 1, basic bitch, N64, Super Mario. Or 64 is just the best. I think it's the classic. To me, it's the reason we even have a Galaxy or a Sunshine. It's definitely the way they built every other game off of that one, and that one is just amazing. All the different tricks you can do, all the different speed run opportunities, all the glitches, just playing it regular, getting all the stars, getting on top of the building with Yoshi. I mean, this game is just wild. Like, too much wild, crazy stuff happens in this game for it not to be number 1.
Way more packed full of stuff than I remember now that you're bringing it all up.
It's wild, man.
All right. An excellent pick, making me feel a little inferior, but I went into this video knowing that I was going to stir up some controversy. And as a man who started off his YouTube channel with a Star Wars video, I'm no stranger to controversy. It comes at me all the time, so let's just go ahead and drop it in. My number 1 pick, Mario Bros. Game, easy. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for the Game Boy Advance.
Go ahead and hit him with it.
It's easily my number 1. It's easily the one that I played the most growing up. Of course, it's on a handheld console, so that kind of diminishes it for some, but I say It is the most fun game I've ever played as far as Mario games go. You could do anything. They had these crazy mechanics where you could trade off with the Mario Bros. And you could do high jumps and spin jumps. Every single area you went to looked unique and crazy. There were so many different side characters you could walk up in. It was like the Skyrim of the Game Boy Advance, including alchemy, because they had this little mini game where you could collect beans and then take them to the doctor guy from Luigi's Mansion, and he would make cappuccinos for you that gave you different health boosts and stuff.
It sounds wild.
It was wild. It was wild. They had a great boss, very memorable. The story, even, I remember being great, and just like I said, all the little characters you get wrapped up in. Mario doesn't talk, so I didn't care that you had to read it to. That was the only really drawback as far as I was concerned. Is you had to read the text, but other than that, absolutely top tier game. Would recommend today. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga #1.
I'm gonna have to try that out.
It's on the Game Boy, man. Give it a shot. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Josh, I'd like to thank you again so much for being on.
No problem.
And we'll hit you guys with it again next time. Thanks.